Greetings, Cap fans, and welcome to episode 218 of the Captain America Comic Book Fans Podcast. Hey, I'm Rick Verbonis. I'm your host, and I've got a co-host. That guy, his name is Bob Lucius. Hey, Bob. Get down, get down. Get down, get down. Get down, get down, get down, get down. Get down, get down. Get down, get down, get down, get down, get down, get down.
I feel like I need to clean the needle.
Or duck.
Or duck. Yeah.
Yeah. Bob, what am I greeting with here?
I have no idea, Rick.
Well,
No
Bob, if
idea.
you were listening to the top songs of March 1974, you would hear this song on the radio, and it is Jungle Boogie
Oh, all right.
by Kool and the
Okay.
Gang.
Yeah. All right. All right. All right. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Now it makes sense. Get down. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. March 12th, 1974. This actually was the number 4 song on the hit radio at the time. I find it interesting because you know what number 3 was at the time? Actually, no, I take that back. This was number 5. Do you know
Ooh,
what number
number
4
5.
was?
I have no idea.
Boogie Down. Eddie Kendricks.
Okay.
So number 5, Jungle Boogie or Boogie Down.
All right. That's
There
awesome.
was a lot of boogies
A lot of
going
boogieing
on.
going on. Yeah. A lot of boogieing going on.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It
Yeah.
reminds me, Bob. Do you know how you get a tissue to dance?
How do you get a tissue to dance, Rick?
You put a little boogie in it.
That's a classic.
Yeah,
It's a
there you
classic.
go.
Yeah.
I remember telling that to my mom in the last 5 years, and she's like, "Ew," she got all grossed out by it. I was like,
Oh my
So
gosh.
Bob, why am I greeting you with the amazing lyrics of Jungle Boogie?
I'm a little bit I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't know why we're not doing an issue of Jungle Adventure.
That's true. No, but we are doing Captain America 174, which had a release date of March 12th, 1974. So
There you
that
have it.
is the number 5 song. But I got to tell you, Bob, here are the lyrics. Okay. I just gave you 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 get downs. The song starts off with 16 get downs. Then here's how the lyrics go. You ready?
Lay it on me.
Jungle Boogie, Jungle Boogie, Jungle Boogie, Jungle Boogie, get it on, get down with the boogie. Jungle Boogie, Jungle Boogie, and this is the backup. Get up with the get down. Jungle Boogie, get down with the boogie. Jungle Boogie, shake it around. Jungle
Yeah.
Boogie, get up with the get down. Jungle Boogie, boogie boogie. Jungle Boogie, get the boogie. Jungle Boogie, Jungle Boogie, get up with
Yeah.
the get down. Jungle Boogie, get the boogie. Jungle Boogie, let me jump in. Jungle Boogie.
You know what I
And that's
gotta
only halfway through the song.
yeah. I feel like it needs more Jungle Boogie.
Little light on the Jungle Boogie.
A little light, a little too light for me. A little more, needs a little more Jungle Boogie.
Are you going to be like Christopher Walken coming in going, I need more Jungle Boogie?
Nicely done.
Thank you. Boy, 1974. A lot of stuff was going on during 1974. A little thing called the Watergate crisis.
Yeah, absolutely. It was only a few months after this, in fact, in August 9th, I think around there, that Richard Nixon resigned.
Yeah, the country was
How
in
quaint.
crisis.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean somebody, a politician quitting over a really bad scandal that they get caught doing something bad?
Right. And he didn't even do it. He just covered it up.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, he kind of asked people to do it, didn't he?
Well, I don't know if I think they just did it on their own accord, but then when he just covered it up. He didn't, he could have just fessed
Uh,
up to it, you know.
yeah, remember the good old days when politicians actually had some sort of, I don't know,
People to hold them to account.
respect.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you caught me. I had an affair with a woman. All right, I need to resign. Or
Right.
I paid off this person. Yep, I got caught. I need
Yeah,
to resign.
you
Nope,
got me.
nope. Now they just, it reminds me of Shaggy, right? Shaggy, the
From
the reggae star.
Oh, I'm not familiar with Shaggy.
Oh
I was
yeah,
thinking of
Shaggy.
from the Scooby Doo show.
No. This is Shaggy, the reggae star,
Okay.
and he has one of his hits was "I didn't. It wasn't me."
Oh, I
and
love it.
and
Yeah.
he gets caught by his
Yeah.
wife or girlfriend, whatever, and he's
Yeah.
cheating, and she's like, "But you have this." It wasn't me. And then he's like, "But what about this?" It wasn't me. What about this? It wasn't me.
You have
and
it. That's
the
it.
whole song is just him denying allegations. I think that's what,
Yeah.
unfortunately, nowadays that's what we're stuck with.
Can't prove it.
Or
It
even if you
wasn't.
can,
Yes,
they're
that's
like
right. That's
they're like,
true.
I
Yeah.
don't care.
Yeah.
Eh,
Yeah. No, that's it. That's where we are.
it
But
is.
anyway, 1974 was a very different time.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. And so we're going to be covering today. This is actually going to be a continuation of the Secret Empire story, and it's actually part four. So I'm sorry, part five. I take that back. Part five. If you want to go back and listen to the other ones, and I highly advise you do if this is your first time listening to the podcast, Secret Empire Part One, Episode 201, Part Two, 205. Part three, 209. Part four, 215. So check those out first. If you're on our YouTube channel, actually, YouTube page, we actually have channels in our YouTube page. Like it's broken down. Like we have it by specials and by interviews and by panel dramas. And we also have it broken down by long tail stories like this. So you can just kind of go in there and go, oh, I want to see the Secret Empire. And then you just go in there and boom, there's all the videos for you.
Very convenient for the listener or viewer/viewer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And plus, they get to see some really cool things. So, um, Bob, birthdays going on. So if you're listening to this episode when it comes out December 11th. Hard to believe we're just 2 weeks away from Christmas. That is crazy to me. Are you ready? By the way, Bob, you have
Not
all your.
not at all. Not at all. Having to keep it, it's a little complicated this year, Rick, because I will be traveling. My wife and my son and I will
Mhm.
be. We're going on a cruise, one of those family cruises.
Nice. Where
So,
to?
well, it's I don't know, someplace in the Caribbean. It's either in the Caribbean or the Caribbean. I'm not
Oh,
sure.
make up your mind.
Yeah, but and it's like Puerto Rico, and then I think a little
Mhm.
island off the coast of Haiti.
They always start first with Puerto Rico. Yeah, little
So
San Juan action.
little San Juan action. Yeah. So I guess this must be. Is this Western Caribbean? I don't
It
know. I've done.
depends. I don't know. It sounds like it.
I think I've done Eastern Caribbean before, so I
Hmm.
think this is probably the Western. And so anyway, we're doing that. So I just do as I'm told and follow the plan.
Oh, you didn't book this? It was all Casey?
Yeah, well, it was all the in-laws. The in-laws are
Oh, it's a
doing.
big family
Yeah,
thing.
there's like 23 of us on this.
Yeah.
So
And what's the cruise line?
I think this one is Royal Caribbean.
Oh, that's a nice one. I enjoyed Royal
So
Caribbean. Yeah.
yeah, you know what I found out this week, Rick? Check
What's
this
that?
out.
What's that?
I was I'm doing this leadership thing. It's every other Thursday for the next
Hmm.
God knows how many months. And I try to sit with a different person every time on the bus,
Hmm.
because we go on one of those gigantic motor coach buses to different spots throughout the day to visit with different places and people and stuff. So I tried to sit with a different person. And so
Hmm.
I was sitting with the person who was the person who introduced me at the kickoff retreat. Now, I think I told you her husband is a Captain America fan.
Hmm.
And in fact, she gave me a copy of a Captain America comic book from him, and very sweet. So we're talking, and she told me she's grown up here in Naples, South Florida, and when she was little, and I mean like in high school, uh, the place where I'm living now used to be a nudist colony.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So
Ah.
there's a big lake on the edge of it, not that big, but it's a good sized lake. And half the lake was people like people around here could use it, but half the lake was like demarcated. It was only for the nudist
So
colony.
so when you told her where you lived, she looked at you, was like, "Oh.
Oh yeah. So I know
Oh, okay. You're one of
naturally I
those."
came right home and I said, honey, I think we need to bring it back.
Mm.
And then she said to the couch. So
Yeah. When in Rome
yeah, when in
or
Rome.
Naples, either one.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so that's where I'm at, headspace.
Ah,
But for the holidays.
gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah. So how about you? You're planning ahead? You got it all in hand,
I've
man?
done really well with my wife. I've gotten her a few gifts that it was one of those things where, she made a comment about it and then
Mm-hmm.
I went back and got it without her
Mm-hmm.
knowing, kind of thing.
Nice. Nice.
So I have a couple of those that I've been able to pick up over the course of the year, actually.
Yeah.
But what I'm in the process of trying to do is come up with she has a big birthday coming up in March,
Mm.
and I want to do something special for her for that. So
Yeah.
lots
Yeah.
of planning, going
Good
on.
for you. Yeah.
Well, speaking
Well,
of
sorry.
birthdays,
Yeah.
so this week, if you're listening, this when it comes out December 11th, it happens to be John Buscema's birthday. He would have been celebrating a birthday on December 11th. Now, John Buscema, older brother
Mm-hmm.
of Sal Buscema, who is the artist in today's comic. But John didn't do much of the Captain America series, but he did do a bunch of Avengers, and certainly drew Captain America and the Avengers. Um, John Cassidy. John Cassidy, his birthday would have been the 14th, December
Wow.
14th. And then Bart Sears, birthday December 17th. Now, Bart Sears, you might think, huh, what? A lot of people remember him from the Valiant days. He did Exo Man of War
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. But he was the artist on the Captain America and the Falcon series that was done with Christopher Priest.
Right. Yeah.
And so happy
The
birthday.
anti-cap.
Yeah, yeah, happy
Mm-hmm.
birthday to Bart. Now, getting back to John Cassidy, I just want to talk about uh, a fundraiser slash giveaway that we're going to do that ties in with John Cassidy. We were very, very sad to hear of his passing at a too young of an age, right? And for many people who knew John's work, associate him with Planetary and some others, but us Cap fans know him from Captain America Volume 4, which with the writer Niebuhr, which was just the post 9/11 series. So this is the one that was before Ed Brubaker took over, and a lot of people remember John's distinctive style of Captain America, which had it really showed the scale armor that he had on. Anyway, so John, an amazing artist, and again taken from us too soon. So a few things. We're doing a giveaway, and it is was donated to us. I want to make sure that I give credit where credit is due. But um, a one of our longtime patrons of the show, his name is Seth Offenberger, and he and I met at the Baltimore Comic Con, and this was shortly after John's passing. And he had brought this particular comic, which was Fallen Sun, if you remember the death of Captain America, and it was illustrated. This particular one was illustrated by John Cassidy, written by Jeff Loeb, and you might remember it's the cover that has basically it looks like Captain America's body wrapped in an American flag, right? So
Right.
it's a
It's a
very
shroud, like a
stunning,
shroud. Yeah.
yeah, very stunning image.
Yeah.
And so Seth went around the Baltimore Comic Con and got 18 different signatures on this particular book. And so here it is. This is, I mean, I'll put it up right here. But so this is the comic, as you can see. And then there's 18 different signatures on here. And Seth actually wrote down on the backing board here who they were. So I'll just read them off, but they all had something at some point to do with Captain America. Writer Jeff Loeb, and then Lanil Francis Yu, Steve Epting, Dan Jurgens, Brett Breeding, Tom Brevoort, Bob McLeod, Bob Hall, Michael Cho, Greg Land, Al Milgram, Ron Garney, Howard Chaykin, Mark Buckingham, Walt Simonson, Louise Simonson, John Beatty, and Gene Ha. And then you can see here at the bottom, Gene Ha actually did a little um, what they call a remark of
Right.
Captain
Yeah.
America on here.
Wow.
So very, very generous of Seth. He felt like he wanted to put this out there for people who could not attend the Baltimore Comic Con, and so we're tying it in with a fundraiser. So you may have heard John Cassidy. He passed of they're saying of heart failure. So one of the things that we felt would be a nice thing to do was do a fundraiser for heart.org, which is an organization basically looking to help fight and cure heart disease. And by the way, my father passed away from a heart attack. So, and I know there's many people listening who have all been touched with somebody who probably, succumbed to that. So, we'll put it up on our webpage. We'll put it up in the show notes, a link for people to go into a GoFundMe page, which will be a donation to heart.org. Any donation, make sure you use your name. Don't go anonymous, and you will be put into the um, the poll to win this signed comic. And for those who want another way of getting an entry into the contest, or want something that is free, all you have to do is go to our YouTube channel, make sure that you subscribe, and then share one of our episodes on your social media channels. And then you can just send me a screenshot of that, and you can email me at capcomicfans@gmail.com, or you can message me on Facebook Messenger, or you can send me another message. But anyway, that's another way for you to enter the contest. Go to our YouTube page and subscribe, and then share it with your people, and that way it gets the message out there about more Captain America goodness, which I think in today's times, don't we all need a little bit more of that?
We could certainly use a little bit more of that. Absolutely. This is so generous of Seth. So what a great contest. Two great ways to enter, depending on what your means are. And of course, we encourage it. If you want, you can certainly promote that YouTube channel as well. In addition to donating, if that's your choice. We certainly appreciate your support.
So Bob, should we get to today's comic?
Let's do that.
All right.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. There's nothing sweeter than baking cookies during the holidays. With Prime, I get all my ingredients delivered right to my door, fast and free, no last-minute store trips needed. And of course, I blast my favorite holiday playlist on Amazon Music. It's the ultimate soundtrack for creating unforgettable memories. From streaming to shopping, it's on Prime. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to get more out of whatever you're into.
Looking for a pickup truck to get just about anything done? Look no further. The Chevy Silverado EV isn't just the most powerful Silverado ever, with next-level towing capability and technology. It also offers game-changing versatility with the available multi-flex midgate and tailgate, which means Silverado EV helps you carry large, bulky, and oddly shaped items up to nearly 11 feet in length. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. Visit Chevrolet.com to learn more.
So as I mentioned before, Captain America 174 and had a release date March 12th, 1974, cover date of June 1974. And the creators are, if you've been paying attention, are pretty much the same. So we have writer Steve Englehart, penciler Sal Buscema, inker Vince Colletta, colorist George Rosas, letterer, we have two here, Gaspar Saladino and Charlotte Jetter, and the editor, Roy Thomas. And by the way, if anybody wants to hear an amazing conversation about this story and other stories written by Steve Englehart for Captain America, check out episode 52. We had a great conversation with Steve there. And then editor Roy Thomas also joined the show, episode 125. So make sure you check that out as well.
Those were two great episodes, two of my favorites. I have to say. So love talking with those guys.
So Bob, the cover to this is done by a couple of different artists, not Sal Buscema. So credited to the cover is Gil Kane, John Romita Sr., Frank Giacola, and Danny Crespi. Do you want to take the listeners through what this cover entails?
Sure. Yeah. So it's an action-packed cover, Rick. This is one of those covers where there's something going on. There's a lot of static covers, but this is definitely dynamic motion. So in the lower 2/3 of this cover, because the top third is dedicated to the Captain America and Falcon logo, but in the bottom 2/3, we see what looks to be some sort of laboratory. Lots of machinery with scopes and looks like maybe recording devices and levers and things like that. Rick, did you ever get confused in elementary school between laboratory and lavatory?
If you're asking me if I ever peed in a test tube, not on purpose.
I used to find that confusing in like 3rd or 4th grade. Can I have permission to go to the laboratory? I don't know if they probably don't use lavatory anymore. Did they use that when you were a kid? They did.
They did when I was a kid. Yeah. I totally remember that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I can't imagine they've used that in years.
I can't imagine. Why didn't they just say bathroom? It was so fancy, like lavatory, right?
Well,
anyway.
Probably because there's no bathtub in there.
Well, maybe the toilet, I guess, would be fine. In any case, so we've got Cap and Falcon in this laboratory-like setting, and they're battling some sort of monstrosity. It's not exactly clear what it is. Is it a very large or gargantuan man in an armored costume, or is it some other organism or character? He doesn't look familiar to me, Rick. I know who he is because I've read the comic, but if you're picking up this comic off the rack, I think you're going to be surprised, and maybe this is a new character or something like that, because he is big, and it looks like he just swatted Falcon with his left hand, throwing him back into the far wall, and Cap is squaring off with him, and it looks like he has just flung his shield, and it's come back, and he's caught it in his left hand. Now, while all this is going on, there appears to be some sort of big video screen, and on that video screen,
it's Cobra Commander.
It does look like Cobra Commander, but it also looks like one of these Secret Empire lackeys. But this might be the top lackey, Rick, because they all have a number emblazoned on their forehead of their creepy cowls, and this one has the number 1 emblazoned there. So is this the head guy that we've been hearing about? Potentially. And he's saying, crush him, destroy him. Captain America must die.
Yeah, and he's using 2 exclamation points. And I think we've established this long time ago, Bob. There's no place for 2 exclamation points. It's
Yeah.
1 or it's 3.
Right. You know, he's trying to bring down the social fabric by using 2. Yeah.
Yeah. The only time you have 2 is when there's a question mark in between them.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Like, yeah, I mean, I don't know about this.
Hmm.
Like, is he that excited, but not that excited?
Yeah. Just, yeah, it could be excited, you know? Let's just get down.
Get down. Let's not do that again. All right. So, Bob, 25 cents gets you this comic, and which is an increase in price. It was 20 cents.
Man, somebody's got
Man.
to do something about the prices, you know?
Talk
20
about,
to 25 cents. Man.
I know. You know, when we went up in price, it went from $3.99 to $4.99. There was no 405.
Right. Yeah. You know, 20 cents, that's 2 phone calls. Now what? Now what are they going to do? Raise the price of a payphone a quarter? It's crazy.
I know, right? And the other thing too is, and you mentioned about this, you don't know what this is, a guy in a costume or a robot, but this was, you could tell a different artist did this because it doesn't look like anything like the one that's on the inside.
That's true. That is
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
All right, so we open it up into the opening splash page, and it picks up where we exactly left off in the last issue, and that is a disguised Captain America and Sam Wilson are going down this elevator tube with Agent 13, and not Sharon Carter. Said this is from the Secret Empire 13, and they're going down into this subterranean base that's in the middle of a desert, and they had just gotten the trust of the Secret Empire, and so they're being brought into this base. Talk about places you wouldn't want to live in and aren't even thrilled about visiting. Cap and Falk, disguised as 2 jobless wanderers, have just passed their initiation test for the sinister Secret Empire and are being escorted into the group's ultimate lair, hidden far beneath the southwestern desert. In words of one syllable, gulp.
Indeed. Gulp, indeed. Big gulp. Hey, Rick,
Yeah.
you know, I'm looking at this. It's a very detailed splash page, right? Because they're
Mhm.
coming down this tube elevator, and you see all kinds of these Secret Empire minions walking around, carrying things, working on big computer things. But you see those 2 guys, like, and they're hauling like this big flaming bucket. You see
I do
that?
now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, when I see that, I immediately think of, you know, in the military, when we deploy someplace and you're out using, one hole toilets that you've dug in the desert. And after a while, those got to be cleaned out, right? They call that the honeypot. And so they pull the barrel out, and some PFC, gets this duty, some PFC, and they got to haul that away and burn it. And so I'm looking at these 2 guys and I'm thinking, oh, they're on honeypot duty here for the Secret Empire.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So that attention to detail, I appreciate.
Yeah. Well, and then to the right, in the bottom right corner, there's a guy carrying 2 buckets, and one of them's got steam coming up from it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what that
Now you got
is.
me thinking.
I'm hoping it's coffee, but I'm not sure.
And the title to this one is, Bob?
It's always darkest.
I've heard that expression before. What comes before that?
It vaguely sounds familiar.
Yeah. All right, next page, and we see Steve Rogers in his disguise, and we get a nice little recap over the next page and a half. How could all this have happened to me, Captain America? Maybe if I'd been more vigilant, less trusting. But I couldn't believe the massive ad campaign to discredit me would sway public opinion. I got angry, but I didn't get moving. I should have known better. I've seen the big lie technique. Say anything loud enough, often enough, and it'll sound like truth. Now, Bob, where have I seen that before?
Well, I've heard that before as well. I know it's been attributed to Joseph Goebbels, right, the propaganda
Mm-hmm.
chief of the Third Reich. But I don't know. I don't know if that's apocryphal because I've heard it used by a number of different folks. I think it was in Mein Kampf as well,
Mm-hmm.
Hitler's
Mm-hmm.
book. But
Mm-hmm.
I imagine it's probably been it's probably a pretty common saying that has been
Yeah.
used throughout history.
It's
It's
pretty
certainly
common
true.
practice, especially in today's times.
Yeah, it certainly is true. Yeah.
But I considered it a tool of totalitarian governments and not possible in America. I was wrong. Suddenly, they capped their campaign by framing me for murder. I protested my innocence, but by then, there were plenty of people who had lost faith, and I only looked worse when I was jailed by the so called new defender of our heritage, Moonstone. From then on, I couldn't win for losing. Everywhere I turned for proof, I was framed. Even after the Falcon came back to help, my foes were one step ahead. Moonstone's drawl sent us to Nashville to dig into his past, but we got totally sidetracked in a battle with a mutant called the Banshee. At least that led us to the X-Men and Professor X's theory that my opponents and the group he was battling were one and the same, the Secret Empire. But he only had one lead, and the only way we could follow it was to disguise ourselves as prospective flunkies for the Empire. And the Empire had only one way of testing our character, having us actually steal the electron gyro from the ultra secret research labs of the Brand Corporation. There was no other way. God help me, there wasn't. I left a note explaining, and we wore our costumes. I pray somebody will believe we had no choice if we were to get into the Empire's hidden domain. Now, a couple of things here that I find interesting, right? Cap's really shook up that he stole something.
Yeah.
I mean, he goes on
He
to say,
is.
there was no other way. God help me, there wasn't. Like he really is upset that he stole something.
He's really and I think you're absolutely 100% right there, Rick. But he's also very shook up about the whole ordeal from the get-go, that his reputation was besmirched, that he was jailed under false pretenses, that like this whole thing, I think, has really shook him to the core and
Mm-hmm.
driven him to the point where he had to steal the gyro in order to try to to make a little progress, a little headway into getting to the heart of the secret empire.
Yeah. The other thing that crops in my mind is that was kind of bullish on Steve's part,
Yeah, it was.
right? To dress up as Captain America,
Yes.
because if there's a, I don't know, news gets out that Captain America and the Falcon stole this, then he shows up and they're gonna be like, they'll put two and two together and be like, hey,
Right. Yeah. And there were lots of witnesses.
right.
So, yeah.
And then so coming out of the tube, 13 tells, and by the way, we didn't really describe this, but think of men in business suits,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Wearing a Cobra Commander mask over
Yeah.
their head.
Right.
Not the helmet one, but the cloth one that has just, like eye slits and that's it.
Right. Yeah. I think it's comfortable workwear. I mean, you see all these guys working on like, big machinery, and they're all wearing business suits, right? So I guess they got a deal
Yeah.
probably at Kmart or TJ Maxx or something on these suits.
And they wear gloves too, because I guess they don't want to leave fingerprints anywhere. Briskly, the hooded number 13 leads his promising rookies across the highly polished floor into a towering, cavernous chamber where Salam, the secret empire. What?
I'm just, well, I mean, it goes into that, like Salam.
Did I say it wrong?
No, you said it perfectly well. It just seems so out of place for the secret empire.
It does. I thought the same thing.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, what's salam?
You gave me a look though that you
No, you were
normally
right.
reserve that look for when I say something incorrectly.
No, I was just a little befuddled at the choice of Stephen Engelhart's choice of salam as the greeting.
I should have totally had my opening to you today. Should have been salam, Bob.
That would have made sense to me. Yeah.
Yeah. Salam number 13. Have you served the secret empire? And there's this guy up on like a throne at the top of these steps. I have, number 1. I bring you the electron gyro and 2 recruits. The electron gyro, the final component needed for our conquest of America. Now nothing shall keep us from our goal. And Steve, in disguise, thinks to himself, Mister, you don't know how wrong you are. And then he stands up and postures. America is reeling from continuous body blows. First, the toppling of its greatest symbol, next, the fortuitous Watergate scandal. Ah, if only we had known that was coming, how much simpler it would have made our work. The Committee to Regain America's Principles, an impressive but neatly meaningless name that has been swamped with support. The public is anxious, even grateful, in its desire for a new, untarnished hero, our very own Moonstone. And when the secret empire finally strikes and Moonstone plays the part we wish. But enough. These new men must settle in. Take them to their quarters. So that's the plan. Steal the people's faith in me and pervert it. But just wait, number 1. After Sam and I get through nosing around down here, you'll be number 0 or less. And I think this panel is funny to me. Not for the reason I think you think, but that's a really brisk walk. Do you see the space between their legs?
They're striding out there. Yeah.
That is that.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. They are like.
It's like, I've been sitting all day. I need to do some walk lunges here to stretch out this.
This will be your room, gentlemen. Number 1 spoke quite freely in front of you. You must have impressed him as much as you did me. And then he lets him in the room. The 2 go in the room, and then the door locks behind them.
Click.
Huh. If he's impressed now, he'll be thunderstruck later. We just have to bide our time. That's odd. The door, yes, it's locked. Security isn't taking lightning around here. No, man, it's more than that. Somehow, I know it. Quick, Cap, climb into your costume, now. Are you crazy, partner? We're here to spy, not fight all these guys. This will blow. No, trust me, Cap. We've got to get out of here. This vent, is electrified. Then they try the panel over there. Falk, you've got to tell me why you're so... And he just goes and he rips the panel off. Because remember, this is the powered Captain America. Hot for this. There's nothing here but water piping and wiring. Just climb in with them, man. It's only a crazy hunch, but hurry. I think I hear footsteps. And so they get in to the wall panel, which is like like a ventilation system. Next page. Come on, Cap. Let's beat it. Wait a minute. I want to see. That's when the lasers appear. Lurid lances of lethal light. That's a lot of alliteration.
That is beautiful.
Striking everywhere in the room, leaving no space for a man to survive. And what's going on here, Bob?
It's lasers, Rick, and they are bouncing all over the room, creating a net, if you will, a web, perhaps, of these lethal lances of lurid lances of lethal light, making it, so that they would never be able to get away from them had they stayed in that room.
Toss me a freaking bone here. That would have killed us if we'd stayed. Get back, Cap. Now I do hear footsteps. And they open up the door. That should have finished them, number 16. Hey, no bodies. But that's impossible. We flew here solely to watch them die, after they tipped their hand to me by leaving a note, not knowing I'm part of the secret empire. Who is it, Bob?
Oh my God. This is Mr. Black, the man who, quote unquote, believed in Cap's innocence, as shown in the last issue.
I thought he was on Cap's side.
I know. This is shocking.
I told no one but Linda Donaldson here and number 1, so there couldn't have been a leak. Silence. Look here. They did escape. Number 68 found their exit. Sound the alarm. And at another exit from the tunnel...
Ooga!
Usually there's more than one Ooga, right?
Usually.
All right. There's the startling whistle, Falk. The hounds are on our trail. We're trapped down here, and the way we came in is sure to be guarded. Falk, it was bad enough that we had to steal the gyro. See, he's still hung up on that. But I lived with the hope our reputations would see us through. And now I find that my hope had destroyed us before we began. No wonder number 1 told us a plan. He was mocking us. Get back. Spread out, you men. 10 of you search the detention area. 10 more take the sleeping quarters. And the rest of you, come with me. We'll meet number 68 on the 3rd level. They missed us that time, but they'll be back. We'll have to keep moving. Look at him. Everything's falling apart, but he won't say die. And what am I doing? Coming up with lucky hunches. And then we cut back to the desert. And do you remember who we left up there in the last issue?
Yeah, of course. It's Professor X and Cyclops and Marvel Girl, right?
Yeah, Jean Grey.
Yeah.
But surely there's more to it than that, Falcon, and we'll find out what as we lift our eyes to the planet's surface and the extraordinary X-Men. Professor X, something's wrong. I can read it in your thoughts. Yes, Jean. Ever since the secret tracing signal Captain America was carrying led us here, my mutant brain has been probing the Empire's lair below. And by the way, when I first read this, I was a little kind of like, oh, hi, 74. This is so 1974, right? He's like, my mutant brain. No, he couldn't just say my brain.
Right.
But
yeah.
then I thought, I was like, okay, Steve Englehart's explaining to those who have not picked this up yet that Professor X is a mutant.
Yeah.
All right, I get it. I knew just in time of Mr. Black's treachery and tried to telepathically warn our friends. An attempt which appears to have been successful. But now, everything is happening so fast. Don't give up, sir. Only you can help them out of that ambush. Give up, Cyclops. I'll never do that. It's only that there's so much data to register. Next page. Meanwhile, back at the Crunch. At the Crunch? Is that the name of the base? I don't know.
I think back at the scene of the battle.
Looks clear in this direction, Cap. Then let's move. We have to find a way out. What? What happened, Bob?
It appears to be a very, very large armored fist has just hit the wall, behind which Cap and Falcon were standing.
A robot. On the outside, we run into S.H.I.E.L.D., and in here, a giant murder machine. What does he mean by ran into S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Well, that was in the last issue, Rick.
Oh, so S.H.I.E.L.D. With Nick Fury.
But that was actually 2 issues ago, though, wasn't it?
No, it was last issue.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it just seems to go so fast.
Yeah. What does S.H.I.E.L.D. stand for again, Bob?
Supreme Headquarters, International Espionage Directorate. I don't know.
Hey, you're so close. I think that's really good.
Yeah, logistics
Division.
So it's changed.
Yeah, I know, right? Somebody pinch me and tell me I'm dreaming. You shall go no further, intruders. It's no dream, man, and it's making one heck of a lot of noise. We got to shut it up. And then he punches, and Cap puts his shield up.
Boom.
Easy for you to say. You've got wings. That may not be such a big deal, partner. But then again, Cap, I could see a circle panel on the back of its neck as I flew by. I'll put that to his weak link. I'll set him up for you. Do it, Falk. And he flies in front of the robot, and it's a giant robot. It's similar to the one that's on the front cover, but thicker and green. I mean, the other one on the cover was green. This one's red. And then he flies between the legs of the robot, so the robot has to duck down, looking, exposing the circuitry on the back of its neck. Rash fool, I can move swiftly too. Don't I know it? But you're not grabbing this bird on the wing. You just keep shiny head down there between your shiny knees, so my earthbound partner can remove it for you. And Cap, sure enough, he throws a shield and crushes the back of his neck, making a noise.
Chum.
Nice pitch, Mr. Star Spangles. You could play on my team any day. That's why we are a team, Falk. Now let's get out of here. Next page. Not yet, Cap. Another one of those hunches is tugging at me. I want to open this door the big bouncer was in front of. But, well, you were right before. Still wish you'd explain those hunches. He cannot, Captain America. But I can. Huh? It's the X-Men. Good, Jean. Use your telekinetic powers to lower us gently. Gently. Forgive our unorthodox entry, my friends, but once I mentally discovered this main air shaft, I realized it presented the best opportunity for helping you after I asked you to open the way for us. Asked us? Was that you rapping in my head? It was. Your reception of my telepathic urgings marks you as a man with a paranormal mind, Falcon. You mean I'm a mutant? Not necessarily, though I've heard you've had an uncommon rapport with your hawk. We can discuss it later. For now, follow me. Now, that was interesting. I don't know. I can't recall in the order of stories where if this was the first time that Sam's head had been, I don't know, referred to as kind of like out of the ordinary.
Right.
Not a mutant, but out of the ordinary.
Right.
Now, I don't know if Steve was setting this up because later on, towards the end of Steve Englehart's run, there's the whole Red Skull manipulated Sam Wilson and so on. Is that what he was setting up here? I can tell you in the Falcon miniseries that came out, I want to say in 83, 84, wonderful art. I think it was by Paul Smith, if I remember correctly. Mark Bright, definitely, but I think it was two artists. In any case, it was at that point someone picked up on that and talked about the Falcon's mental.
I don't recall that.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know if this is the first time. Your probing has shown you a way out for us. Better than that, Captain America. I know where my missing mutants are being held. The path Professor X has deciphered will take several minutes to pursue. So why don't we turn for the moment to the studio of a morning talk show? And who we have as a guest on the talk show, Bob?
It appears to be none other than Moonstone and another young lady, a buxom blonde, sharing the couch with him.
Do you want to give a quick description of Moonstone for those who don't remember?
Yeah, so he's got kind of a steel grayish blue uniform, and it looks a bit like armor, but it's not. So but you can tell that it has a rigidity to it. And so, as I said, it's sort of a grayish blue, a steel blue, and He's got purple trunks, sort of thick, heavy boots. He's sleeveless, but he has 2 metal rings around his wrists, one on each arm. And the cool thing about his shoulders, because they're shirtless, they're almost like little tiny fins on the top of his shoulders, and a yellow circle in the middle of his torso where he emits his energy. And then he has a helmet that has a purple stripe down the center of it, matching his uniform otherwise, and a fin on top of his helmet as well.
And so he's sitting there nonchalantly being interviewed. And I'm sure our viewers want to know how it feels to be America's newest idol, Moonstone. Actually, Frank, it's of no bed of roses. Living constantly with danger is terribly wearing. But when I think that my first arrest was Captain America, after he disgraced us all by lapsing into a murderous frenzy, well, it's worth it. Oh, Mr. Moonstone, just sitting next to you give me red, white, and blue goosebumps all over. I just do my job, Miss Kearney. With both Watergate and Captain America pulling this nation apart, that's all any of us regular Americans can do to keep the ship of state afloat. And then there's an applause. Now, I have to say, Moonstone's a smooth talker.
He really is.
And a smooth operator. Because I want to point something out to you. In the first panel where he's sitting there, he's got his legs crossed. He's got his left arm back on the back of the chair, and his right one holding his knee. Then in the last panel, he somehow managed to slip that arm around the lady sitting next to him.
He sure did. He sure did.
Do you think he did the yawn move?
I bet he did. Yeah. Oh, I got a moon yawn coming up. Yeah.
I'll show you my Moonstone. All right. Then in the by the way, watching all of this is Quentin Hardiman. He's the PR guy, right? The marketing guy.
You know those guys, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what about them, Bob? I got something you want to say?
Salt of the earth, folks.
Okay. Listen to that audience. They're lapping it up where Quentin Hardiman doesn't know people. In a few short days, my advertising genius has done precisely what I contracted with the secret empire to do. Make people trust this stranger in their midst. My old partner, the Viper, merely craved revenge on Captain America. But soon, the Empire and I shall go far beyond that. And then we cut to back to the X-Men and Cap and Falcon. Slowly, the ponderous portal swings wide, and then, holy crow! Professor, I see. What do they see, true believer? For the astonishing answer, open your eyes wide and turn to the double-page spread on pages 22 and 23. Bob, I turned the page, and they're ads. There was like the Let's Wrap with Cap. There's a Marvel value stamp. Guess who it is?
I don't know in this issue. Who is it?
It's Jack Kirby doing Craven.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Right.
The other thing cool, too, is there's a little ad here for the new Doctor Strange series.
Oh, yeah, with the cover.
So Doctor Strange finally gets his own series. And you know who's writing it?
I don't.
Steve Englehart.
Oh, gets around.
Yeah, it might have been one of those things where Steve's like, "Hey, I'm writing this Cap book. I'm doing Doctor Strange. Could you put an ad for it?" Interesting. I went to look. I was curious. Guess how many stories in March of 1974 for Marvel Steve Englehart had come out that month in March?
5.
Yep.
Oh, damn! I'm good.
Captain America, Doctor Strange,
Yep.
Avengers 124, called the Destroyer 14, and Master of Kung Fu 18.
Wow, there's some variety there.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm leaving everybody in suspense because
Yes,
they're
you
all
are.
gaping, right?
Yes.
And they're leaving us in suspense. So I have I turned the page, and now there's 2 more pages of ads. So we had to go through 4 pages of ads to finally get to it.
Well played,
And what is
Marvel.
it? Oh my goodness. It's a double page splash of mutants. Mutants everywhere. Bob, what are we looking at?
Well, as you said, it's a double page splash, and occupying the better part of those 2 pages is a very large circular table of some sort that is at an angle, and then we see we got 8 mutants tied, shackled, I should say, to that table, and every one of them has some sort of skull cap on, and they're all interconnected. And then on a table in the foreground, we see the Blob similarly shackled to a table with one of those electro skull caps on. And they all seem to be connected to some sort of big Kirby-esque machine. So I don't know what's going on here, Rick.
Yeah, it is intriguing for sure. And here are the mutants to speak of. The eyes of those who know them count them off, one by helpless one. I'll start at the bottom with the beast, and it's the blue furry beast. Mastermind, Eunice.
Oh, I misread that. Okay. Eunice.
What?
Good. Good. I'm glad it's Eunice.
What'd you say?
I don't know. It's something, it looked like something else to me.
What was it?
Like, that's an odd name. It's a crappy name for a superhero, but whatever. Or a villain. But yeah.
Lorna Dane, Havoc, Mesmero, Angel, Iceman, and then you already mentioned the Blob. All unconscious and all wired to some incredibly hideous machine. And then I turn the page, and here's 2 more pages of ads. You must remove them from the apparatus. My mental probe shows it to be siphoning their brain energy. Then stand back, Professor. My shield will turn this setup to rubble before you can count to 3. Now, I love how the narrator says, in truth, it takes a tad longer than that, but soon. I get it. Why?
Critical.
Yeah. All of these people are dazed, perhaps drugged. They won't be able to walk for at least 10 minutes, but I believe I could put that time to good use. I'll probe the angel's mind to learn how he came to be here. It was our search for him that brought us into this deadly puzzle in the first place. Yes, his memory is still clear. He was relaxing at our school when Magneto overcame him in order to steal his energy-absorbing costume. Sometime later, the angel awoke to find himself clothed in the original X-Men uniform, the same one Cyclops and Marvel Girl have since readopted. He went to look for us, not knowing Magneto had spirited us away. But as he winged his way outside, he was struck down from ambush. Doubtless it was the Secret Empire's doing, for he remembers nothing since. Now, let me probe the beast's brain. It seems he was loping toward the job his alter ego held at the Brand Corporation's Long Island complex, when he met the same fate. In fact, my probes show similar stories for all these men and women, even those who call themselves evil mutants. I guess they ran into people even more evil, Professor. And I guess you have too, fools. Cap, over there. You thought you could match wits with the future rulers of America? Cretins. Would you match wits with a spider in its web? It was only a matter of time till we tracked you down, and now you die. What are they looking at, Bob?
Well, it's number one, looking suitably, agitated, and then off to behind him to the right is Linda Donaldson, who has been featured in this story, a little out of place. And then we see probably another 8 or 9 of these secret empire goons in their their business suits and their cowls, matching cowls, all armed with some nasty looking weaponry.
Indeed. Next page, And Cap and Falk go right into it. Sorry, trick-or-treaters, we don't quite see it that way. Of course, we'd like to keep an open mind, but that doesn't mean we want holes in our heads. At last, I feel alive. These bagmen have done me a favor of coming out in the open at last. That away, Cap, smash 'em. Oh, uh-oh, reinforcements, bringing up the artillery. That's too much too soon, fans. And better never than later, too. Looks like nobody wants to attack us lesser mutants, Professor, so I'll have to attack them. Be careful, Gene. The other mutants are still too groggy to help. We've traveled a long, hard road to find Angel, Beast, and Iceman, sir. It'll be a while before I think about being careful. And Marvel Girl speaks for all our heroes. And they're shooting at Cap's shield.
Spatang!
And Falcon knocks a gun out of another one.
Boom.
Anger and uncertainty have paced them down that road, as an elusive enemy always kept one step beyond them. But now they've met the enemy. Now they can fight back. Now they can see the end of the road, and no matter how many of their foes bar the way, they know they're going to reach it. Number 1, they're wiping up the floor with us. I have eyes, number 9. And by Joe, that's not all I have. Tell number 68 to bring the atomic annihilator. Dun, dun, dun.
Wow.
Last page. Number 68, he who had first discovered Cap and Falk exit from their laser death trap, may feel a swell of pleasure at this chance to re-enter the drama. 'Tis certain he responds to his chief's orders with alacrity and awful precision, and he fires this gigantic cannon. And it strikes all 5 of them at the same time. And it's a tremendous power glow that hits them all, and they look to be in agony, and they fall. Cap, Falk, the X-Men all drop like flies. And Cap's there just crawling, reaching out with his arm. No, it can't end like this. And then, number 1, rising with his hands in the air in glorious exclamation, dead, all of them dead. Nothing survives the atomic annihilator. And with them gone, America shall soon follow. And the next issue, Bob, is going to be
Before the dawn.
the final chapter. All right, Bob, what do you think of this story?
Well, that was a twist at the end, Rick. I thought they were going to wrap up the Secret Empire story in this issue, but it appears not to be so.
Yeah, just when Cap was getting excited, right? Like he finally, the mysterious villains were now out in the open, and some people he could actually fight. He was excited. Falcon was excited. The X-Men felt like they were going to be able to, save the people they were searching for. That stupid atomic annihilator.
Oh, man. If I had a dime for every time that messed up my plans.
I tell you what.
Yeah.
You'd have a dime.
I'd have a dime. Yeah. It wouldn't be enough to buy this comic, but by
That's
goodness,
true.
I'd have a head start.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, the story's coming along. Story's coming along.
Yeah. I like the whole Secret Empire idea. I think, that's I like a Hydra. I like a good Hydra. I like a good advanced idea mechanics, but I like the, I like this whole Secret Empire thing. I like the hoods and the business suits.
Mm-hmm.
It's even creepier because it's more plausible, right? I mean, Hydra, this creepy organization, they're sort of abstract in many ways, right? But these guys are woven into the fabric of American society. working jobs at the factory, night security guys, public relations guys, and they could be your neighbor. They could be the next door guy. And when they put on that
that's
hood,
the scary part.
right, that's the scary part. So you can't tell who's in the secret empire and who's not. So it's a cool concept.
So when we finally get around to doing that top 10 Captain America villain teams, Secret Empire make it to your top 10?
Oh, I think they would have to 68, 9, 69, the whole group of them. I'm all for it. 100%. 1, 3, 13. Hut.
And just to get a little preliminary here, Hydra, Advanced Idea Mechanics, Secret Empire.
Hydra's going to be my number one. Rick.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
I thought it was going to be Secret, the Serpent Society.
Honorable mentions for sure. Yeah.
Oh, you really don't like them, do you?
I really find them odd. Yeah.
Well, it could have been the Death Throes.
Yeah, it could have been the Death Throes. That's true. Yeah. The Death Throes for sure, with all of their amazing circus acts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Bob, you go first. Do you have a favorite panel?
Oh, I sure do. I like that one where he by he I mean number one is sitting on his throne of lies. I think it's like page 3 or something like that. Bottom
it is,
splash,
yeah. Last
right?
panel, page 3, yeah.
Yeah, where Steve and Sam come before him for the first time, and he's sitting on that amazing sunburst throne, and I think that's kind of cool. I like the creepiness of it, but it's also a little bit awe-inspiring. So, which is, I'm sure, how it's designed to impact whoever's brought before the throne. So, I don't know. I like that. It's a little over the top, but I think a good villain needs an over-the-top entrance, and this is a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one. A nice pick.
And what about yourself?
I'm going to go with page 15, and I'm going to go with the 4th panel, and it's the one where Cap's throwing his shield, but we hear the thoughts of Falcon saying, "You just keep your shiny head down there between your shiny knees." So it's a combination. I like the action, of Cap throwing his shield and the way he's doing it, but I think keep your head down. Your shiny head down between your shiny knees.
That was going to be my T-shirt, Rick.
Well, too late.
Goodness. Speaking of T-shirts, what are you going to put on your T-shirt?
I'm going to go with page 30, the first panel, and it's one where Falcon and Cap go charging into the army, and he says, "Sorry, trick-or-treaters, we don't quite see it that way." And then Cap says, "Of course, we'd like to keep an open mind, but that doesn't mean we want holes in our heads." I thought that was a nice little play on words by Cap. I also like that it's a horizontal image, which would look good across the chest. You know? And it's always good to see Cap and Falcon in battle.
Interesting.
What about you? What are you putting on the T-shirt? What's your pivot?
The prior page, Rick, that bottom splash page with number 1 and Linda Donaldson and the other players from the Secret Empire team. You thought you could match wits with the future rulers of America, Cretans. Would you match wits with a spider in the web? It was only a matter of time till we tracked you down, and now you die. I like, we've been talking about having some good villain T-shirts, and I want this team. I want this team on my T-shirt.
Wow. Okay.
I'm gonna wear this one to the grocery store and get some funny looks.
That's right. Yeah, future rulers of America.
So,
what's going in your time capsule, Bob?
Well, Rick, it's going to have to be Watergate. the mention of
Mhm.
Watergate a couple times, and of course, the break-in of the Watergate apartments happened in 1972, and it was only a couple months after, as I said earlier, after this book came out, that Nixon resigned in August 1974. But the thing is, can you imagine asking somebody today uh,
Mhm.
what Watergate was? And you
Mhm.
and I know what it is. I think most people that we talk to and communicate with. But I think if you were to like just ask people on the street, particularly younger people, like how out of context that is in the American experience, and just the knowledge of what that was, I think is
Mhm.
very, very low. And so, but here at this time, as we discussed with Steve when we talked to him, it was fresh in the consciousness of America, and Marvel's all about, writing stories that reflect what's going on outside the window. And this was definitely something that was in the, the zeitgeist at the time, right? Something that
Yeah.
everybody knew about and was following.
And it's interesting that you bring that up because, you and I know about it, but we were too young to experience it,
Right.
right? Like
Yeah.
how that shook America,
Yeah.
and therefore the world. And, and it was, it was a big deal, it really was a big deal. And, they were going through inflation and an energy crisis and, world problems
Hmm.
and, internal, it was a
Vietnam.
bad
Yeah.
time. It was a
Yeah.
really bad time. And that was 50 years ago. And,
Well,
yeah,
here's a funny thing, right? Because we have these conversations a lot in the Facebook group and elsewhere in other groups, and some folks, they don't like when comics touch on contemporary politics. But here it was, 1974, and Steve Englehart did not shy away
yeah.
from mentioning contemporary politics, what was going on in the life experience of readers.
And it was interesting because when we had Steve on the show, he said back then editors didn't care. You could write whatever you want.
Yeah.
And Captain America was a low sales comic when he took it over. Now he's been on it for almost 2 years at this point, so the sales had really gone up. So that was great. But yeah, he said he didn't have to run these types of things by anyone. So
Hmm.
again, check that interview. It was a great conversation.
Yeah. But how
Uh,
about your time capsule, Rick?
I'm going to go with something that I think is definitely very pinpointing to an exact time. I almost went Watergate, but instead I'm going with the price increase of the comic from 20 cents to 25 cents
Mm,
because it was such a big deal that in Let's Wrap with Cap, Stan Lee, Roy Thomas decided to write this little letter. You want me to read it?
absolutely. Yeah.
All right. A special announcement from Stan, Roy, and Marvel Comics. By the time this message appears to any of our in our mags, you'll already have noticed that all of our 36-page comic magazines are now 25 cents, a nickel more than they were a few short weeks ago. Maybe your first reaction to the price hike was the same as ours might be if we were in your shoes. Quote, what's Marvel trying to do to us anyway? Don't they know we've got enough troubles, what with inflation, shortages, and an energy crisis on our hands, without trying to chip us for 5 cents more every time we want a little fantasy filled escape from it all? What is this? Some kind of ripoff so that Stan and Roy can vacation on the Riviera this year? If that was your reaction, it's an understandable one. And we just like to ask you to listen to our side of it for a minute before you decide. This year, the widely publicized paper shortage, in addition to various labor settlements among the companies that print, sell, and distribute Marvel Comics, caused additional expenses to Marvel of several $100,000. That means that we had to make that much extra money just to stay even, despite the fact that our sales in 1973 were the best in the business. And just in case you think we're now getting rich off that newfound nickel, believe it or every time they say that, I want to be like, nickels, nickels, nickels. Little Lucy.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, that extra copper only covers about half the cost of the paper strike and other shortages. What are we doing about the whole situation? And then he goes on to explain, just they're going to, have these specials and this size and extra size comics, and there will be this cost and this cost. And then, they go through all that. And it is about the only one thing we can do is to affirm once more that, just as we've been doing for over a decade now, every artist and writer in the bullpen will be striving night and day, even harder than ever, if that's possible, to see it that you consider each precious coin spent on a Marvel mag to be one of the finest, wisest investments you ever made. And then he, thanks for listening. I like you said investment. So even back in 1973, it was like a comic was an investment because But anyway,
Right.
I thought that was very interesting to see Stan and Roy come out to the readers and explain the price
Yeah.
increase. Because listen, a nickel's not a lot of money, but it was a percentage wise,
Sure.
it did go up. What's that? 20%?
20%. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
20%. That's a big increase. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's $3.99 to $4.99 then now doesn't seem like that big, right? Percentage wise.
Right. Yeah. It's a good point.
But in any case, it was that's going in my time capsule because that really is a capture of that time period.
Interesting. Good. That's a good one, Rick. Well, I'm glad you read that because it's funny. Some things never change, right? I mean, these pressures are felt cyclically, and the comics publishers and they got to adjust accordingly. And the readers, we decide either we're going to accept it, based on whether it's defensible or not, and continue to buy comics.
Yep, we all have to make decisions on what it is that we want to spend our money on, and in some cases, what makes us happy, and to Stan's point, what does let us kind of escape a little bit from every day, and hopefully this podcast is something that helps everybody escape a little bit from what's going on in your current situation, and so keeping in mind, we do have this giveaway. The Fallen Sun signed comic that is honoring John Cassidy. And don't forget, look for the link in this podcast notes that you can make a donation to heart.org. And you can also just, for free, like I said, go to our YouTube channel, make sure that you subscribe, and then share it one of our episodes on your social media accounts. Send me a screenshot of that, and you'll be entered into this contest, as easy as that.
That's a phenomenal opportunity. This is a great prize, one that any Cap fan would love to have. I certainly would love to have that, and so I encourage everybody to.
Sorry, Bob, you're not eligible.
I know. But I will win it vicariously through one of our listeners who makes the effort. Just do the effort, make the effort, and it could be yours.
Yep. All right, Bob, as always, I've had a lot of fun wrapping Cap with you.
I have too. I can't wait to see you next week.
All right. He's Bob Lucius. I'm Rick Verbanis. And if you don't mind, please rate, review, subscribe wherever you listen. Give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Give us a 5-star review on Apple. Give us a comment in the Facebook page. We always love hearing from you. And as always, thank you for listening to another episode of the Captain America Comic Book Fans Podcast.